Hey there. Welcome back to the People Gardener podcast. I'm Rhonda Delaney, your host. Happy to have you here this week. Oh, it's been a wild ride these last few weeks. Being sick myself, and now hubby Trev, he got pretty hit by it and he's on the mend. But it really throws your schedule off. And so part of me growing as a person is acknowledging the need to rest and not feel guilty about not being able to perform my usual task. Hence the replay episode last week, because there was no way I was going to be able to bring any energy or enthusiasm to my podcast episode the way that I felt. This week I want to talk about the totem guides that I have started working with. Sue Storm is a gal that's in my business coaching program, and she made these absolutely gorgeous. For those of you listening, I'm sorry you can't see these. Go to the video on YouTube and you'll be able to see the guides. But the artistry is just fabulous. And it's a delight just to look at the cards each day. These are animal totem guides. And in indigenous cultures, they all have stories around these animals. There's the 4 different sections. This is all new to me, so I'm learning and I'm probably bumbling along, right? But just to give you an idea of what it is. And so we've got air, water, fire, and earth. And we have animals in those 4 quadrants. And so each morning, I have my ritual, I guess you would call it. It's not really a ritual. It's just how I processed starting my day. And so I breakfast, I read my Bible, and then I shuffle these cards and I spread them out and I set an intention about what it is that I could use some help further clarifying or expanding on. So I'm going to share what I did today and the card that came up. There is no right or wrong way. It's completely up to you. But I just find it a very restful and calm way of introspection. I guess introspection is the right word. Part of being a successful small business owner and an effective leader is really understanding yourself and growing yourself. If you expect your people to grow and become more of who they are in that very positive way, you have to be willing to do it yourself. And a lot of times you have reactions to things that don't make a lot of sense. It's a knee jerk. And if you don't analyze why you had such a visceral response to something, you're missing out. You're missing out on growing as a person, but you're also missing out on the teaching moment that could be there because you are so into the reaction that you had. And I can remember as a parent, right? You probably, if you have children, you've probably been there too. It was the automatic. A kid came up and asked a question, wanted to do something, wanted something, whatever. And this just without any conscious thought, it was no. For me, that was common. And yet, if I stopped to think about it, more often than not, the question came at a time that I was busy and I was focused in doing something that I felt needed to be done at that moment. And I didn't have time to really listen and dissect what it was that they were asking. I shouldn't say lots. There were many times where I went back and said, you know what? I wasn't right. I didn't see the whole picture, and yes, there's no problem. We can do that, or we can go there, whatever it might be. So really getting into yourself and how you think and what you truly believe and what you value. It's important to know those things so that when situations come up, you know where your response is coming from. And you're honest. You're honest with yourself. It might be your own aversion to something, and it's not got anything to do with that something. It's your own issue. And yet your response is making it their issue. And it's not their issue. It's your issue. So anyway, let's talk about these cards. So this morning, my intention that I set as I looked at the cards, I shuffled them and I spread them out, and I looked at the cards, and my intention was, what innate gifts should I be nurturing? What innate Rhonda-isms, who I am, do I need to be nurturing? And so the deck was spread out, and I spent a bit of time looking at these cards. They were all face down, but there was this one card that had this white dot. I'll show it to you, dot in the top corner. And as I was scanning these cards, this one, it just kept poking at me, going, okay, no, that's the one. And so that's the card I picked. And the card is a hummingbird. I was so delighted to get that, because we have resident hummingbirds that hang out at our rock bubbler in the summer. And it is so delightful because they're very playful. They're fun to watch. They're territorial. At one point, I think there was 4 of them, but they fight. They're annoyed when somebody comes into their area that isn't supposed to be there. But I just love the energy of them and how much they look like they're having fun. So the hummingbird, it's a multitasker, joy, protectiveness, harmony, and direction. As I was reading through, there's a little manual that comes with this. As I was reading through on the hummingbird, what came to me as, Rhonda, focus on these innate gifts of yours, and positivity and optimism. I have to say, I was not surprised by that. That is something that I want to say I'm innately that way, but I do. I am a glass half full kind of gal, looking for the solutions, finding the positive in situations. That was reaffirming for me to be able to see that. But the other thing that came up was resilience and poise. I look at my life and all of the things that have happened in my life, and I'm going, yeah, I am resilient. I shattered my leg. I spent 9.5 months on crutches. I am walking again. I have been through 15 years of corporate and been unceremoniously fired, and am now doing this and moving forward. So yeah, there's lots more that has happened in my life, and I'm sure has happened in yours, right? And it's like, oh, okay. So that is a gift, an innate gift that I have. And then the other thing that came up was the joy and the hope and the courage. Yeah, I have that in me. What came up, and it just kept coming up over and over, day after day, was the playfulness, adding it, making sure that it's there in my life instead of it being this heavy, serious. Not that life isn't serious. Life is serious. If your faith is in eternity, if your faith is in heaven, of being there, let's say, and mine is, I absolutely believe having joy and having hopefulness and the playing part of it is like, okay, no, you need to be joyful in the pursuit of that. So being joyful in what you're doing, that means what you're doing has to align with your values and what is important to you. This has been fascinating for me. I hope that you will find it fascinating too if you dig into it. I'm going to put the link to Sue's deck in the show notes. I'm not affiliated with her at all, other than we're in the same coaching program. And I've just really, I've loved the art, but just the process of it and learning a bit more about myself and reaffirming some things, questioning other things. But you as a small business owner, growing yourself, becoming more self-aware will help you when it comes to interacting with your people. It will show them, it will demonstrate to them that growing is a positive thing. It's something that you're willing to do while you're asking them to do the same thing. So as I reflect on today, the hummingbird, and the delight that the hummingbirds around here have given me, that's what I want to focus on. I want to focus on being playful and finding the humor and finding the lightness, so that people can walk with a spring in their step, so that they can lead, so that they can fulfill whatever their role is in a light, fun way. That's it for this week. We'll talk to you again next week.